This is collaborative work with Anna Solomons of Tilburg University in the Netherlands, Carolyn Chin, who's a PhD student here at MIT, and Brian Segmiller, who was a PhD student and now is an assistant professor at the Kellogg School at Northwestern. And we wanted to investigate the following question. We know work gets automated, but we also know there's all kinds of new things that people do that they didn't do decades earlier. There were no pediatric oncologists, there were no programmers, there were no software analysts, nor were there sommeliers serving expensive wine, people who do care for the elderly, people who provide all kinds of luxury services. And we want to ask, well, where do those come from? How important are they? And what consequences do they have? And we want to look over a period of a significantly long time, so 2 4-decade spans, one from essentially the Second World War through to 1980, when really many people would say the current economic era begins, and then 1980 to approximately 2020. So what we found was, first, about 60%, more than 60% of the specialized work that people do today did not exist in 1940. So not that many people, more people are doing the jobs that existed in 1940. A lot of the work they do is new. So people who are doing these, pediatric oncology or the sommeliers and so on. So that's one. The second is, well, how does this relate to new technologies, right? What role do they have? Well, we found that we were able to attempt to classify what we call automation technologies that substitute for human tasks and eliminate the work that people have done, and augmentation technologies that essentially increase the value, the domain, the sophistication of work that people do. And we found that these have different effects on new work creation. Automation does not lead to the creation of new work, new human specialties, and it erodes employment in occupations that see a lot of automation. Augmentation leads to a range of new occupational titles, specialties being created. We can measure that using historical census data, and predicts growth in employment. Often these things happen in the same place. So for example, in office work, right, there was a lot of automation of traditional office jobs, but of course there was also creation of IT jobs and specialized organizational jobs. So that doesn't mean it's a wash. It's not. In fact, in office work, it's been a net negative employment. But these processes are happening simultaneously. The balance between them seems to change over time. It does seem like over the last 4 decades, automation has accelerated relative to augmentation. So the displacement of existing work has accelerated relative to the growth of new types of work. Now, I want to be clear, that doesn't mean we have fewer jobs. We have lots of jobs. It's a question of the expertise level of those jobs. So we have many people in the United States working, and we have a very high labor force participation rate, it's growing, and low unemployment. But a lot of that work is non-specialized, non-expert work that pays poorly and does not offer stable employment or really career growth. That's why expertise is so important. And so new work is often associated with new expertise, things that not many people know how to do, and yet there is demand for. Some of it is fleeting, like tantric yoga instructors. Some of it is quite enduring, like people who design microchips. But we have an interest in fostering development of new forms of expertise. That's where a lot of opportunity comes from. That's what we should be looking for in the AI era as well. And so what this paper showed us is the ebb and flow of both of these processes, how important new work is, how it relates to technology, and how technology is a double-edged sword, on the one hand eroding through automation, and on the other hand expanding and enhancing through augmentation.